Hello, wrestling fans, and we are back with the IWO Show, aka the Impact Wrestling Observer. I am your host, Smart Mark, and joining me now is my new co-host. We call him the Creeper.
How you doing, Mark?
Pretty good. It's Smart Mark, by the way. Just saying. All right, so we are back doing the rundown of what is the current state of Impact Wrestling, and as opposed to what we used to do back in the day, doing a rundown of every segment of the episode, now we're going to basically be just giving you some news and notes on what's going on with the storylines and the championship belts and just Impact Wrestling in general. So let's get into it. First off, there's been a couple of major announcements recently, and the first one was that they're slimming down to 4 pay-per-views a year. And if you listened to me back in the day, you know that was one of the main points I was always sticking on, is that there was just too many pay-per-views and that somebody needed to slim it down, focus on 4, make them seem more important. I think it was a great move. What do you think, Creeper?
I think it was a good move. If you log down too many pay-per-views, you don't give time for storylines to develop this way. You have storylines that could take 3-4 months to develop. You could start one in January and end it with the last pay-per-view of the month or of the year. So I think it's a good idea. Just go to 4.
I think it would be cool to see some of these feuds last longer. I think you also get the setting now on this show to have micro feuds, things that kind of come and go between pay-per-views, don't even necessarily, affect the pay-per-view one way or another, but you get faces on the show and whatnot, things, other stories taking place within just the confines of the 3-month period between shows.
And with 4 pay-per-views a year, you're almost guaranteed an AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels one last time match.
Well, at least maybe once a year.
Hopefully just one.
The other major announcement is that starting March 14th, we are no longer going to be confined to the Impact Zone. Impact is finally going on the road. They're going to be starting in Chicago, and this is one of the biggest moves they could possibly make if they're ever going to be viewed as an even kill competitor to the WWE. You got to put it in an arena. You got to have a big crowd to make it feel important. So again, great move. Probably one of the happiest moments I've had watching wrestling was hearing them make that announcement in a long, long time. What do you think?
I'll have to agree with you again, Smart Mark. I think that it was good for them to move out of the Impact Zone. They can't hop right into arenas, though. I mean, you say they're going to Chicago. They can't try to...
They can be in the smaller, college arenas.
Yes, but they can't try to
They're not going to sell out the big arenas.
Yes, not right off the bat.
Staples Center.
No, not
Unless
right off the bat.
But not for Impact.
But also, they're not going to be in, bingo halls either. So, that's good. I think it will branch it out. More people will be able to see it.
We saw some shows, I think they were in South Carolina. This was probably 5 or 6 months ago, though. But they did a couple of tapings in South Carolina, and I thought the show looked great. And so, it's going to definitely, the new viewers coming in are going to, when they see the show, it's going to feel bigger. And I think that'll keep them watching. Obviously, since I've talked to you last, there's probably the major thing as far as storyline in TNA has been the Aces and Eights. And I know a lot of you guys just think that Aces and Eights sucks, that it's the worst storyline ever. I think that there's been inconsistencies, and they do need to win more fucking matches to be relevant. But overall, I was just saying recently, I think that the way their storyline's playing out, it's kind of like the NWO in reverse. And we're getting some of these mid-card players that are going to be part of the team, and I think as we go here in the coming months, we'll probably see a few of the top name players that will be associated with it come into play. What do you think about Aces and Eights so far? And let's just go up to Thursday. Let's not, what do you think overall?
Not predict the future.
Well, yeah.
Or try to predict the future.
A couple of things we'll get into here with specifics, but
I mean, I think it's interesting that they brought Taz in.
Okay.
I mean, it gives them a mouthpiece outside of it. Mind you, it's a horrible mouthpiece. Taz should not be an announcer. Probably should have stuck to wrestling. But
well, he broke his neck, so that wasn't in the cards. But
a book or
hate,
something.
Yeah,
but
I hate Taz. I hate him. But at least giving him some heel work is probably...
Yes. Well, Taz has always been good as a heel. I don't see how anybody could have liked him to begin with, but the revealing of Bischoff and Briscoe, some people predicted it months ago that Bischoff and Briscoe were in. So I think it was good. I like the way that it went down with Briscoe coming to help Kurt, and then,
I like how when I was setting this up, I was like, don't talk specifically about recent things for Aces and Eights, and just talk in general about the overall view of the Aces and Eights.
Okay.
And you broke right into the specific shit that recently
Well,
happened.
I didn't predict the future, did I, Mark? I mean...
So, okay, I guess, we popped the cherry on that. So, Taz as the mouthpiece, I like it. I think him being a heel announcer is something that they needed overall in the booth, was that heel announcer, especially with 3 men in the booth, which is another development that's came recently that, I think was a great move. Again, it was so stale with just Taz and Tenay, and I think, Todd Kennelly or something like that.
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, anyway, he's doing pretty good. So, Bischoff and Briscoe joining Aces and Eights. Nobody that's, really watching was probably too surprised by that. But I think it's good because now it gives the Aces and Eights a tag team. I hope to see them wrestling as the Aces and Eights tag team in tag team matches. And it gets Bischoff, who people want to hate just because he's Eric Bischoff's son. So it gives now him that heel role. Briscoe, I really like the way they set it up, having them kind of in the shadows, in the background for so long, and then finally doing this. I think it was done pretty well.
Well,
overall.
I think I was saying that the guy with the long curly hair was Briscoe a while back, but then you'd see him when he wasn't in Aces and Eights clothing, and it's like, well, maybe not, but
So I think overall the Aces and Eights is actually starting to get a lot better as we go. They need to win some matches, some signature matches, some things to keep it interesting. And I think as we are going here, I think we're going to start seeing that. And, talking about Bischoff and Briscoe being a tag team, and some of the other action recently, I think, has been a step in the right direction for the tag team division, which was basically non-existent, over the last several months. And now we're starting to see, Daniels and Kaz, Bad Influence. We're getting Aries and Bobby Roode teaming up. You've got the champs right now, Guerrero and Hernandez.
Super Mac.
Robbie T and Robbie E, but it looks like they're getting ready to break them up, and Robbie T is probably going to get a little more of a push as a single star, which they've been doing that pretty well recently as well. But I think that Aries and Roode will probably win the tag team belts here in the next week or two or whatever. That'll be great.
I see probably the next pay-per-view. They have a good dynamic, and it's hard to choose who's a better tag team dynamic-wise.
Between who?
Between them and Daniels.
And Kazarian?
Yeah.
That's who I want to see. I think that is the better. I think we'll see Aries and Rude win the belts, like, soon. Probably during this, because I know this British tour is like the next 3 episodes as well. So I think they'll win the belts, and then they'll maybe be defending them at Lockdown against Bad Influence. That could be pretty good, right?
You know, they need more than just like 3 tag teams now. They don't need to just throw people together either.
That's true. But you got 3 or 4 tag teams now. Bring in Bischoff and Briscoe. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You got some things that are kind of cooking there. And I would also want to talk about the recent Bully Ray being suspended, the wedding with Brooke Hogan. Now this is something I think most people are shitting all over. And I think most wrestling fans hate Brooke Hogan, and I get it.
Who doesn't?
But in reality, in the real world, she is somewhat of a celebrity, and so having her there makes sense. She's Hogan's daughter. It makes sense that she's there. And having her running the Knockouts division was horrible, and it looks to me like they're kind of starting to break away from that and putting her just at Bully Ray's side more as just like a, you know, the classic Miss Elizabeth. You know, it really reminds. And in the course of all this, Bully Ray has elevated to the next level as a single star. And I think a lot of that comes from the push of being involved with this whole Hogan angle. What do you think about it all?
Well, I think they are pushing Bully Ray to be a star. And I think he has the talent, the on-camera charisma to be a star, but I don't... He plays the bad guy so well. I don't trust him. After, years and years of wrestling, the moment he shook Hogan's hand, it was like, okay, when's he going to turn on Sting?
And you think he's in Aces and H? You think it's going to be...
Yes, I think he's going to join. Him and Devon aren't going to team back up, but...
Well, if they didn't, I don't know what the point would be.
Well, that's true, too. I mean,
I don't think it's going to happen.
That TV
I think
title
all of this has been made to make him a big babyface star. Probably right now.
It's a horrible storyline.
I think you put Bully Ray up there with Jeff Hardy as probably like the faces of the company right now.
They may be your
and to do that with
Bully
Ray is pretty impressive.
It is impressive that they're pushing.
Oh,
Bully
and we
Ray.
didn't talk about with the tag teams. You also got Morgan and Joey Ryan.
I haven't seen them in weeks.
Well, they just lost. I think it was at Genesis they had a title shot, but I think it was kind of hinting around that they're probably going to be breaking them up, which is a great thing because we can see Morgan now do what he said he was coming back to do and start tearing through people, and we can see Joey Ryan go off into the X division, which is also starting to really cook. With you got Christian York, RVD, Zema Ion. I'm sure Jesse Sorensen's about to be coming back. Kid Cash, Kenny King. Kenny King will probably be the next X Division champ, I would imagine. What do you think?
I mean, you're right. I don't usually catch X Division matches. So, all I know is that I don't like Rob Van Dam holding any belt whatsoever.
I think the thing of it is Rob Van Dam brings something to that title, brings a name to have held that title. And when we look back at the history of it, seeing Rob Van Dam being an X Division champ and having a good run, but I think it's time for him to lose that belt to Kenny King. and I think they've put the spotlight on Kenny King over the last several weeks to kind of show you that that's what's about to happen.
And now that we're on belts, Devon has to either defend or give up his TV title. You would figure a TV title should be defended at every television appearance. Samoa Joe could do it. He could defend
Joe definitely was defending
every
the title.
week.
I mean, maybe not every week, but if it wasn't, he was defended on a regular basis. And I knew when Devon got it, it was going to be like this again. You know who I want to see him lose it to, though?
Who?
Joseph Park.
That was what I was just getting ready to say. It's just he's going to get his match with an Aces and Eights member.
Let's put Joseph Park and Devon in the cage at Lockdown for the fucking TV title and make Joseph Park your new TV champion. I think the people would love it. I would love it. Joseph Park's like the best thing right now.
Yeah, he's a lawyer turned wrestler. He went to wrestling school.
And, you know, he's down with KFAB. And here, this week's episode, he got the W. That's what the boys in the back call it, is the W.
Oh,
for a win.
For a win?
For a win, yeah.
Makes sense.
I think we could wrap it up right there. Well, we could throw in what's going on with the knockouts. You got, basically, it looks like Velvet Sky, Tara is pretty much the key program going on right now. I like Jesse being with Tara. He's came in, and I think that it's been very entertaining.
I can see him teaming up with Robbie E.
Robbie
bring
E.
It back
bring those two together, I think.
Bring it back to and Tara could be there.
Yeah.
But the knockouts is just the crapshoot. Every week somebody comes out and calls out Tara.
You need Jesse and Robbie E together, and they call him Dude Bro.
Dude Bro?
Yeah.
I don't know, Smart Mark. I think you may be on to something there.
Well, I think we'll see Velvet Sky getting that title off of Tara pretty soon. And I think this time they'll probably give her a longer run than she had the one time they let her get the belt before. It was a pretty shitty run. It didn't do much with her for some reason at the time. But overall, I think that the Knockouts division, of course, it's not what it used to be, but unlike most, I would say it doesn't need to be. You get 6, 7 women in there at any given time. You got one good feud going on. I personally felt like the show suffered having 2 women's matches every week. I think you need that to be able to pace the show more to where you are going to definitely get an X Division match,
TV championship
or something in that, place right there, a tag team match that's propelling, that division. So overall, I feel like the show lately has been as well-rounded as it's been in a long time here the last, few weeks.
I could agree with you there. I think it could make some improvements. Again, I don't like the whole Brooke-Bully relationship. I don't, I think that Devon needs to defend the title more. Obviously, I don't like Jeff Hardy holding the title whatsoever, but who's he going to lose it to if Aries and Rude team up?
Well, I think that, Aries and Rude are talking about they want all the titles. So I think it'd be pretty interesting now if they get the tag team titles, that then they focus their attention towards getting, Aries getting the X Division title again and Rude getting the TV title. That could be pretty cool.
But then, see, they're going to clash over who gets to go after the world title.
Well, and I think you hold the world title kind of like at that point when they've got those belts between them, the world title is going to elude them. They won't be able to get it from whoever's got it at that point. All right, so that is going to be, we're going to wrap it up. We're hitting the 20-minute mark, so we're going to say sayonara. Feel free to post your comments below. We will respond to those. And I hope you guys are as excited as we are to be back and be talking to you. So we will see you next time.
All right, I agree. Smart Mark, it was a good show, and have a good evening.
Or if you're watching this in the morning, maybe you should have a nice day, I guess.
Well, if you have a bad day, then at least you'll have a good evening, won't you?
Well, if they have a
That
bad day
won't
at this
improve it.
point, it's probably your fucking fault.
It's not my fault if they have a bad day. You're not going to put that on me.
I'm
It's
having
my-
a shitty day, and it's fucking your fault, so
Well, my day's
let's
not
ruin
getting
it for
any
everybody
better
else.
now.
All right, goodbye.